And a lot of people talk about, Kenan and I, as far as like the split between the Kenan and Kel show. This is where it started. And I think that even Kenan didn't really know either what was going on.
Right.
Because I didn't share what was going on with me and the head writer of the show when that happened. And what was going on.
Right.
And I didn't trust anybody at that moment either. Yeah. And I remember the head writer, who's Dan Schneider, that's who I was talking about, who wrote on the show at that time. He was also doing a movie. I believe it was Liar Liar.
Jim Carrey.
With Amanda. Not Liar Liar. It was, oh man, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It wasn't Liar Liar. Okay. But it was Amanda Bynes was supposed to was in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was about a kid that lies and all that stuff like that. But they wanted me to actually be in that movie at first, and I was like, yo, we should put Kenan in it. That would be dope to put Kenan in it, and we both do that because we had a 3-picture deal at Paramount when we were doing that. But they decided that they didn't do the other movies. We just did Good Burger. Okay. But I was doing Mystery Man, so they were like, yo, you should be on that. And I was like, oh yeah, but let's put Kenan in. They were like, nah, I think this should just be with you. And I'm like, no, but I feel like, we got the show, let's do it. And also too, the writer is the same writer I had fallen out with. You know what I mean? That's in the room. And so I'm just like, you know what I mean? I don't want to do that.
Right.
And I remember I left out of the room and, all these producers excited about doing this movie.
Right.
And I remember I left out of that room, that situation, and then I saw Kenan, and then I saw Nick, and they were like, yeah, we heard about that meeting. They just started laughing.
Right.
And for me, I felt like, yo, y'all was in there fighting for you. You know what I mean? And that kind of hurt at that moment. Thing about me was that relationship is very important, and you need to let people know how you feel. At that time, I really wasn't doing that.
Right.
There was a trust thing. You know what I mean? I had already been through death, within my family in Chicago, and all these things were going on. At this point, both of my uncles was murdered. I had a friend that was murdered that we talked about. Yep. All this happened around the same time. And so there wasn't any, I wasn't seeing any therapist or anything of that nature. I was just working constantly with working on the show and within doing that. And then at that time, too, I ended up marrying my ex-wife, because we had another baby. We had the baby, right? We had the abortion, but then we had a baby. And she ended up telling me that the baby that was aborted wasn't mine. And so within that process, you are immediately married within a lie already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So the marriage was never the same after that, was it?
No, it was. This is at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? This is right at the beginning. And so within that process,
she probably should have kept that to herself.
And well, I'm glad she didn't. And so within that process, with that being known, it was just like, yo, and now I'm on TV. All this, I'm still on TV. All this thing, and I don't have time to really process that. And she almost, with even in being, the pregnancy. She almost died within the pregnancy, so that was a hard time too.
Right.
And I remember some of the writers coming to the set, to the hospital, and they were like bringing presents, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, cool, thank you. And then they were like, yo, when can you be back on set? And it was just
you see what I'm dealing with?
Yeah, we'll see what I'm dealing with. But no shout out to no shade to them. They were doing what they were told as far as a job to see if Kel can be back on set. And I was the one that ended up getting someone pregnant, around that time. But I'm just setting up so you understand what was really going on when we get to 2004. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In that process. So and now knowing that this, the kid is mine, and then now leaving the show, on Nickelodeon. And then I had Mystery Man, this big show, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that's gonna be it. You know what I mean? And learning within that process too, where it was like, hey, well, no, I don't want to renew on all that Kenan and Kel. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I already know what's going on as far as what's happening within this realm of what's going on with the show behind the scenes and what's going on with me. And I was just like, yo, I'm ready to leave anyway. And then Mystery Man didn't do as well as we thought it was going to. You know what I mean? As we thought it was going to do within that process. And then just navigating through that, now being a father. And here's the thing about it is that the reason I didn't have anybody relate to, because I was the first one out of the entire cast to be married, to have a house, have kids. And Kenan, Nick, none of them could relate to that. They were still being kids. And also, too, there was this process of, I got it all together. I already know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? To me, it was like, I got it. I can handle this.
Right.
No.
You couldn't.
No, you can't handle this within the start part because you're really going through something that is really deep, and you need to let people know and let people know how you feel and let people know what's on your heart, what's really going on. But I kept it in and was like, I can handle this. Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of some of the kids, actors and actresses that you were around. Life had gotten so overbearing that they didn't feel they could go on.
Yeah.
You mentioned Amanda Bynes, and you see her in conservatorship, and you see her dealing with her issues. How difficult is that for you, knowing what you went through and seeing her go through something very similar?
It's deep. I mean, when I was at the Sun Hotel in Canada, where I was going to end my life at that moment, on the other side of a balcony, Amanda was there. Amanda was shooting a movie where she played a guy, that movie. And Kenan was in town too as well. We hadn't talked in a while. He was doing Snakes on the Plane.
Okay.
And no one knew that I was going through with my ex. You know, we had very toxic relationship. You know what I mean? As you can imagine from the start of it all. You know what I mean?
It's hard to reveal something after a lie.
Yeah, bro.
If it was founded on a lie, it's going to fall eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And it went from bad to worse, with the things that were being revealed, and it was a lot, it was other times. She had gotten pregnant, other things, and it just got to a point.
She had gotten pregnant again?
Yeah.
While y'all were together?
Yeah.
And it wasn't you?
Not with me.
Ah, come on, Cal.
It wasn't me.
And you stuck around?
Yeah, I stuck around. But here's the thing. These were things that were being revealed,
She telling you this?
No.
How did you find this out? I want to know how you found this out. You read a letter, you got to it through the phone?
Yeah, okay. All right, so how that one went, there was a thing where we weren't having sex anymore, and we weren't doing anything anymore because...
you weren't having sex. Clearly she was.
Yeah, it's just because of I knew what was going on.
Right.
And I was like, yo, what is even happening? You're not coming home. You're not doing all these different things.
And y'all married, she not coming home.
Yeah. But then this was, back then.
Yeah.
We praying for her now. It's all good.
Yeah.
But this is what the process of what I was going through.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so now as this is going on, there was a time, get some more soda.
Now I need something stronger than soda, Cal. You telling me that right here.
Go ahead, brother.
I mean, you had one, you aborted that, but that wasn't yours. She told you didn't know. You had one of your own, and she...
Yeah, well, yeah. There was a situation where there was a guy, and I had a feeling, you know what I mean, that she was
Do you know him?
talking to somebody. It was one of her friends that used to come over, right? And, I was working a lot, you know what I mean? So it was one of those situations. And so I was dropping off the kids, and, then go to work, and you know how I go. And so one day I decided where I was like, I'm going to take the car and just kind of like go searching where she might be, because she ain't come home. And so I got in the whip, went driving around, saw her whip, looked different, and I saw it, and I said at the hotel, I was like, yo, okay, there's a car at the hotel. I go to the lobby, you know what I mean? I go walk into the lobby. Turns out dude just come walking down the lobby about to go to the car, my car, and then she was driving, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, okay, what's up? Take me upstairs. Let's go to the elevator, let's go together. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And we go up, we don't need to fight, let's go.
Yeah.
Because I already know what it is.
Right.
So we go up, of course she's surprised, within the room. And, we walk in, I walk in there and I'm just like, hey, okay, so this is what's going on. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? All right, and this is what you're doing? Okay, so, and I walk out, because I'm like, I'm not about to fight over someone that...
she already made a decision.
Yeah, you made your decision. You already we'd been through it.
Did she come out and let me explain?
Yeah.
What did that explain? Offer without explanation.
Explain. I'll go to the car. After I went to the car, then there was this... I was like, yo, I need to go back And I went back because now I was like, well, I felt disrespected, so now I need to go do something. As I'm going back, so then I'm going back up there. Cops came, everybody came up at that point. And I remember this cop told me, he said, hey, yo, I seen this type of woman, this situation. You need to get out of this situation. You know what I mean? You need to get out of this situation. Like, you know, like a goofy, still stayed around. You know what I mean? We said we was trying to make it work for the kids. You know what I mean? Trying to make it work for the kids. But it just wasn't working out. You know what I mean? Trying to make it work. And she ended up getting pregnant by another guy. Now, how that situation happened was that I was at the hospital. She had a sickle cell trait. So she ended up, you know, I'm thinking it's that. We go in there and the doctor comes in and says, yeah, so you lost the baby. And I was just like, hey, yo, what? You lost the baby? And I'm like, oh, I know that's not mine. And so I lost the baby and and I'm like, okay, so she was pregnant at that time. And this was just like, what was going on? You know what I mean? Within the relationship.
That was rough,
But then
bro.
it's also doing movies, doing TV shows, doing all these things as this is going on, not really telling anybody anything.
Right.
I wasn't telling my parents, telling my family what was going on.
Right.
You know, so now all these situations are happening. And I get to the point where I'm at, 2004 up there. And the thing about it is that I would drink, to get out of such, emotional, all of this mind, because it was just kind of like, making people laugh and doing all these things. But then also this is going on too as well. You know what I mean? And so I got to the point where I'm about to do this. And the reason I did that was because I went to Canada to do this movie. And we had the relationship was just toxic at that point. So now I'm here and I get a phone call. And she's this guy, that she wants to be with. And I was just like, okay, yeah, y'all need to be together. You know what I mean? Like, let's do this. But then I'm also dealing with the embarrassment of all of this situation. What's going on? I don't want people to know what I'm going through, all this situation. And I just felt like at that point it needs to be a reset button. Just because I looked at my parents and how beautiful their relationship was and how this relationship was not being that at all, and how what I thought marriage would be wasn't that at all. And then even just the navigation of this industry as well and what was going on. And I just wanted to hit an off button at that point, and I felt like that was the answer.
Right.
I tell people, I heard something tell me, hey, yo, Kel, get into a room, lock the door, and get off this balcony. I know that was God now. But at that time, I said it was a person, but I know it was God that told me to do that. And I did that and went and did work. And then from that, changing my life around, where it's to the point where now it's like really living life for me and understanding that,
Kel, even though I'm listening to you talk, and it's a very traumatic experience, and I'm sorry that you had to experience that.
It's all good.
But it seems to me, no matter how chaotic it was in your personal life, it was the acting that kept you going.
Well, I would say this, because even with the process of me and Kenan, he kind of just, and I don't think he knows it, we did have a conversation about this, but he didn't know any of this either. He didn't know all these things were going on in my life until recently when I was able to talk to him about it. And the thing about it is that on that side of work, when it was a thing of, my talent being stolen by, this writer, this yelling by this writer, all these different things, the process of that and work and all how that was, and navigating that, he was also managed by the same company that the writer was in. And so within that, it was just like, oh, y'all all together. So I couldn't trust anybody. And where I was from, with having people, die within my life that were in Chicago, I'm going through turmoil in a toxic relationship. And then I'm also having problems within the workplace as well. That was a gumbo of just like, yo, you know what I mean, of what was going on. And that's when I talk about, like, with Robin Williams, when I was saying, like, smiling through everything and making other people laugh. You never know what somebody else might be going through at that time. And Kenan was going through his own process as well and things that he was going through, but we both weren't sharing.
Right.
And this is what I talk about with relationship and letting people know what's on your heart and letting people know what you might be dealing with. Because if you don't let people know,
they don't know,
and you just deal with that's a great place for the devil to just play with you. You know what I mean? Within that process. And I had to really understand that. You know what I mean? And so even with Amanda, I understood, what she was going through. Everybody has their own journey of what they're going through in life. Everybody's journey is different. And this is my journey and process of it.
You auditioned for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Kenan auditioned for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And I guess you guys auditioned for the same role.
Yeah.
Losing, I mean, you guys had played was in these sketch comedies and did these shows together.
Yeah.
Did that strain your relationship to lose that audition to him?
No, I think that I explained it, what really happened. You know what I mean? There was this divide of me. You all don't understand what I'm dealing with through the process of all the things I'm dealing with.
Right.
Or even with these producers and the writer. You know what I mean? What's going on? And for them, it just looked like, yo, Kel is just, doing his own thing. He's frustrated. And he doesn't know it. And that wasn't what it was. Right. I had my own personal things that I was dealing with. When we got on Saturday Night Live now, you're talking about this is years, and we hadn't spoken in a while.
Right.
And it was a lot.
So had you guys not spoken prior to Saturday Night Live?
Not at all. Yeah, we hadn't spoken.
Oh.
Yeah, we hadn't spoken. And so that's the thing about it. It's like there was this, when I talk about the isolation and when I talk about work, see, when people watch us on television, they're thinking like, oh, this is brothers. You know what I mean? They hang out all the time, but this is a job. You know what I mean? So when it ended, we are adults. You know what I mean? So I always explain like this. There's 3 generations of all that. Like we were 94 to 2000. Then it came back around 2005 to 2010. And we weren't on that process of that show. And then we brought it back in 2019. Right? And that went for only like 2 seasons.
Right.
And so you got to kind of look at like us being adults and navigating our own things throughout life. And we hadn't talked in a long time. And when Saturday Night Live came along, I was going through probably the worst time of my life. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about from 97, 98, to now it's 2004. You know what I mean? Like when he gets on the show around that time. And we go to audition. I didn't even know Kenan was going to be there. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of, D-Ray was there, JB Smooth, a lot of different other, actors. And I think I talk about this like, people look at us like New Edition. You grew up with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's this love there. And so they felt like it was like this fight. But it wasn't. It was just a thing of, oh, you here too. Okay, let's audition. And for me, it was like, I need this. I got to get this job. I got kids at home. I want to get this job. Make sure this happened. I'm thinking in that process. And I remember when I got on stage, I did original characters. I had already been doing my DVD stuff. So I remember I auditioned with Michael Jackson if he was allergic to trees. And so I did a whole thing where he was sneezing, and that's how he came up with all that. So I did that on stage, but it was very physical. You know what I mean? And I remember that. And I was drinking at the time, too, when I did it. So I remember I got on stage, I was just going. And then what was already happening in my life at that point already, with all the things that was going on. And, I didn't get the audition, which was fine, though, because there's so many other comedians that didn't, on Saturday Night Live. And I don't look at it as like I was upset at my boy. And that wasn't what it was. But what really was going on was what was happening behind the scenes. What was going on where we just didn't talk,
How did it feel to finally be reunited?
With Kenan?
Yeah.
Years later, as far as like with Goodberg? Which is funny. It was, I want to say, I was on Game Shakers. It was a show on Nickelodeon that I went back on. And now here's the process of this. The same writer, this was his show. Right. Now he was doing a new show. Prior to this, I was invited to Kids' Choice Awards to give him an award, and with all the other actors, and knowing the past of us button heads, right, and knowing too the conversations that he had with other people as far as like, forget Kel, I don't want to work with Kel, this type of thing, the type of person he is, right? Right. And I remember thinking, now I'm the man of like a man of faith around this time. And I'm just like, in the process of things that I've went through, I was like, forgiveness is a serious thing. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I'm gonna forgive, and also too, I want the other producers to know, like, yeah, this is not a
I
thing.
don't hold any grudges. I'm
not holding any grudges. So they were surprised. I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So I went on stage and I did that. That ended up being where now all the producers were like, yo, Kel, he's cool with Nickelodeon. He's cool with us.
Right.
So then they were just like, okay, cool. And then they had me audition to be on Game Shakers, the show.
Right.
Part of me was like, well, y'all know what I can do, this type of thing. But I was like, I'm going to audition and do my thing. And so I auditioned, been on the show, and got on that show. When I got on that show, he actually was the one who said, hey, yo, you and Kenan, y'all should, reach out. And he gave me Kenan's number.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we actually reached out to one another. And me and Kenan had a 1 hour conversation of us just talking on the phone and me telling a little bit about my life of what I had went through and him sharing too, but not all the way sharing, but him just like shocked by what was really going on behind the scenes and all that I had dealt with and what was going on. And that was good for us to have that conversation as adults, have that hour conversation and talk to one another. Then right after that, we did Fallon, where we got together to do the Good Burger.
Right.
Yeah, together. And within that process, though, which was really deep, I told him, I said, yo, look, I'm not getting back in contact with you because of that. You know what I mean? I could care less. If we don't do this, it's whatever. I know us as brothers and what we've been through and the experiences that we experienced. We need to talk to one another. Because the thing, and we found out within that conversation that we both had people talking within our ear while we were going through the process. Because the people telling me things about Kenan, people telling things about me to him.
Telling him things about you.
Yeah, during that process with the producers and writers and trying to break that up
apart.
and keep us apart. And we told ourselves we wouldn't allow that to happen again. And we really did that. Now every day we're speaking to one another as far as brothers and just checking on each other.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys did Good Burger 2 together.
Yeah.
Can we expect to see more projects between you and Kenan?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We've definitely been talking about more projects.
Right.
Yeah.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because we like to do something before 2 something.